100 today, and it's only going to get hotter. When we could see heat advisories and timing out our next chance for storms.
Breaking news. New attempted murder charges filed against the man accused of the Wilson courthouse shooting. Well, we're learning about the new charges from the SBI. Cary audit released. A new report is revealing more about the town's finances after a month-long probe. What the findings reveal about possible money mismanagement.
Triple-digit heat is possible today, and the heat and humidity get worse as we head into the weekend. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Chris Lemminger. Thank you so much for joining us here. You always love to see the sunshine in the afternoon, but things start to get a little worse when you start seeing values above 105. It looks like they're heat values, Amy.
That's right. We'll get close to it today, but really tomorrow and Saturday will be the worst of the heat, and that's why we issued heat advisory, heat alerts, weather alert days for Friday and Saturday, because we expect heat advisories Friday and Saturday. So take a look at this. Today, the heat index around 104. For the National Weather Service to issue a heat advisory, it's 105 or hotter. Tomorrow, 108. Saturday, perhaps as high as 110. Sunday, 104. And Monday, back down into the upper 90s. So again, the worst of it is going to be Friday and Saturday. A live look at downtown Raleigh. A little hazy out there because of some of the wildfire smoke moving in from Canada. And we'll talk more about that in the next half hour. The Weather Service says that's not the main reason they issued the code orange air quality alert day for us today. They issued that because we have elevated ground level ozone. We have very hot temperatures, stagnant air. The wind's not really blowing things around to mix things up for us. So if you're in one of these counties shaded in orange and you suffer from respiratory illness, or you have young children, or you're taking care of elderly, try to limit your time outdoors during the peak heating hours this afternoon. 90 is the current temperature in Raleigh right now, the dew point 72. So it is still very muggy with some of these higher dew points, but this afternoon those dew points are back down into the mid 60s. So the heat index value should stay pretty close to the actual air temperature, but it feels like 97 in Raleigh, feels like 100 in South Hill and 100 in Clinton right now. So it's sunny and hot today. Our actual high temperature forecasted to be 100 in Raleigh. We'll take a look at when we could see more 100s and when we finally get some better rain chances coming up.
Yeah, definitely need that rainfall, Amy. Okay, let's get back to some breaking news. In the last hour, a man accused of shooting 3 people outside the Wilson courthouse faces new charges. Abdul Mustafa now faces attempted murder in the shooting, multiple counts in fact, in the shooting that injured 3 people, including 2 law enforcement officers.
Let's get to Kirsten Clark, who is tracking these new developments from the WRAL Live Center. Kirsten.
Yes, a special agent served the arrest warrants to Mustafa this morning at the Wilson County Detention Center. And now, as Chris mentioned, the 21-year-old is facing multiple counts of attempted murder. Let's take a look at those charges. He was charged with 4 felony counts of attempted murder and 2 felony counts of shooting into an occupied vehicle. Now, these charges stem from the SBI's investigation into Mustafa's actions against officers on Monday. And they came in addition to the charges the Wilson County Sheriff's Office filed that same day. Now, he was denied bond on those charges, and Mustafa received no bond on today's charges as well, and he'll have a first appearance tomorrow. So again, a whole new slew of charges for Mustafa at this point, and we will be in court tomorrow as well to let you know, give you an update on that as it happens.
All right, thanks for tracking that for us, Kirsten. Let's get to some more breaking news this noon. The state auditor's office released new findings of its month-long investigation into the town of Cary, specifically how town leaders spent tax dollars. Let's bring in Flynn Snyder. He joins us live outside the state auditor's office. Flynn, the audit was launched as there have been allegations of financial mismanagement by the former town manager.
And Chris, months ago, state officials said initial findings of this probe indicated the potential of fraud by former town manager Sean Stiegel. The report says Stiegel, who resigned late last year, instituted an intimidating work environment that included erratic behavior and bullying. The audit alleges that Stiegel made more than $1 million in questionable purchases, including buying land without town approval. It also says there are weaknesses in the town's financial oversight, with nearly 2/3 of Cary employees having a town-issued credit card. The state auditor says that is far above the average of 16% in 9 other of North Carolina's most populated municipalities and led to questionable spending decisions. The audit makes recommendations about how the town can boost oversight of town employee spending. We are expected to learn more about the audit's findings when State Auditor Dave Bullock discusses this report in the next hour or so. Carytown officials officials have not yet responded to our request for comment. In the meantime, you can read more about the audit's findings on the homepage of WRAL.com. In Raleigh, Flint Snyder, WRAL News.
A person who was hit by a vehicle on I-40 West in Cary has died. That crash happened just before 2:30 this morning. Raleigh police say the person was hit by that car between Carytown Boulevard and Buck Jones Road. The driver left that scene and did not stop, and police are still searching for the driver. If you have information, you're asked to contact Raleigh police.
2 men charged in connection with a melee on Glenwood Avenue over the 4th of July weekend are due in court this afternoon. David Lane and Amir McLean face numerous charges, including felony rioting, assault, and resisting an officer. Raleigh police say thousands of young people gathered at Glenwood South. 9 people were hurt and dozens were arrested. In response, RPD stepped up security measures, and city leaders have discussed instituting a curfew for teens 17 and under. New at noon, 2 people face charges as part of a Pokemon card fraud scheme. Dongwei Li and Xingyi Li each face 4 felony charges. Those include conspiracy, identity theft, and financial card fraud. According to the arrest warrants, the 2 used a stolen debit card to buy $12,000 worth of Pokemon cards. They are then accused of trying to sell those cards back to Triangle Area Trading Cards to make a profit. There is also an ICE detainer for Dongwei, who is a Chinese citizen.
Local urgent care clinics are seeing a surge in patients wanting to check for cyclospora. The surge is creating new challenges for some clinics. One Duke health physician says they went from rarely testing for the pathogen to now seeing roughly 10 to maybe 20 people a day requesting tests.
Really, it's been difficult keeping pace with the demand for our stool testing supplies. What we are seeing is a lot of demand, and then we will send patients out with our supply kits, and then we do not get the testing returned.
Well, and WakeMed says its turnaround times have stayed consistent. Management notes that differences in testing methods and laboratory workflows, these can affect how quickly results come back. And you can count on WRAL to keep you up to date on everything your family needs to know about this outbreak. You can hear from the people from here who have been through this and find in-depth discussions on what to look for so you don't get sick. Again, this is on the WRAL YouTube channel. The FDA approved a first-of-its-kind cholesterol pill from Merck. Lipfendra is the only oral inhibitor of PCSK9. That's a protein the liver makes that is linked to higher cholesterol. Similar drugs come as injectables, and other pills, such as statins, address cholesterol in a different way. The FDA says in clinical trials, Lipfendra lowered LDL-C cholesterol by more than 50% compared to placebos.
Research Triangle Park is taking a major step forward in keeping our area as a top spot for innovation. Leaders unveiled RTP 3.0 today, which will reshape RTP as we know it. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us live now. Sean, what exactly is changing to make this 3.0?
Yeah, well, leaders want to make the R in RTP not just research, but also residences, like you see here behind me along Highway 54. These will provide flexibility that will help retain current businesses and draw in newcomers as well. Now, these changes were met with sweeping approval by 400-plus businesses around RTP, and now there are different zoning designations, which will allow for mixed-use and residential neighborhoods around RTP. It also opens the door for current businesses to expand or downsize if need be. Now, while research is still the identity of this area, expanding the uses for the 7,000 acres of land here will open the door to keep RTP competitive for the next 50 years. Now, I'm told these new changes have caught the eye of real estate developers in the area looking to add housing like you see here behind me in other parts of the area as well. But that type of development is limited to just 500 of the 7,000 acres available, because while they do want to expand and have that flexibility, they don't want to lose their roots as one of the research hotbeds in the entire country. In RTP, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Raleigh police spent hours investigating a shooting that happened around 3:45 this morning. This was on Cragburn Lane, and that's in the Headingham neighborhood. We want to show you some video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. Officers focused their attention to one car at that scene, and then later in the morning, the forensics team placed evidence markers in a driveway across the street from where that shooting happened. A woman was hurt, but she is expected to live, and we are working to learn what led up to this and any information on a suspect. Officers are also investigating a shooting in North Raleigh. Police say that a man was shot on Magnolia Court there. This was around 4:15 this morning. And video shows forensics taking pictures of a bullet hole in an apartment building, and the man was taken to the hospital and expected to live as well. Police are still searching for that suspect.
State election officials are debating new rules that could make it easier to throw out people's ballots. The Republican majority on the State Board of Elections backs these changes. In addition to making it easier for elections officials to throw out mail-in ballots, the changes would also reject people's excuses for not having voter ID. Kicking people from polling places would be made simpler, too. WRAL state government reporter Will Dorn reports critics are worried this could inject partisanship into elections administration. You can find our coverage at WRAL.com and tune in later today for updates from the meeting.
President Donald Trump says that he plans to focus on elections in a speech tonight. Sources close to the president say that it will be about voting machine security and alleged foreign efforts to influence elections. When he first announced the speech on Monday, many people assumed that it would focus on the war in Iran. However, election integrity has been one of President Donald Trump's core talking points since he lost the 2020 election. Midterm elections are less than 4 months away as well.
Too close for comfort. A closer look at this flyover at a beach as the Navy investigates why the Blue Angels got too close.
And flooding in Texas. We're taking you to the floodwaters threatening Texans there as even more rainfall is set to hit the state.
RDU food scene expands. See the new options awaiting you as you await your next flight at the airport.
Coming up next, see storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Attorneys for the family of Nolan Wells say they will work with the local prosecutor's office to inspect the contents of his cell phone as the investigation into his death continues. His body was found 2 days after a boat trip to an island with people he knew. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist reports from Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Nolan Wells' parents say they now have an open line of communication with law enforcement here. That's after they met for about an hour yesterday with the district attorney here in Jackson County, Mississippi. They say in that meeting they were able to get an understanding of what the process is going to be moving forward, including the fact that the case file from investigators, once the investigation is complete, will be shared with a grand jury here. The prosecutor telling NBC News that is not an indication that a crime has been committed. It's just the process here in Jackson County, Mississippi. At the same time, this family says that their lawyers will share Nolan's cell phone with investigators. Will sit down together with them to try to analyze what is and isn't on that phone. The parents believed early on that there may have been things that were deleted from Nolan's cell phone in the hours after he went missing. At the same time, this family is now planning Nolan's funeral. That is set for Monday morning here in Ocean Springs, as his family now waits for the results from 2 autopsies that have been performed on their son. Back to you.
The Navy is conducting a review after members of the elite Blue Angels caused some disruptions during an ultra-low flyover in Florida. Let me show you this right here. So this flyover, it left spectators along the shoreline stunned as the engines roared just feet above their heads. You can see video there from that scene from Florida's Pensacola Beach, showing the umbrellas, the chairs, the tents just kind of flying there as the jets zipped on past the crowd. The flyover happened during a Breakfast with the Blues event. The Blue Angels have been doing these thrilling flyovers at Pensacola Beach for 80 years, but the spectators say they have never experienced a flyover that low before.
People in central Texas are being urged to head to higher ground as severe flooding pummels the area. Rising water prompting dozens of rescues. Fortunately, there are no reports of serious injuries or death. NBC's Ryan Chandler shows us the flooding as parts of the state brace for more rain.
This morning, Texans slammed with even more rain. Intense downpours fueling paralyzing flood emergencies. Parts of the state soaked by more than a foot of rain in just 36 hours.
We are dealing with and responding to a flood that is likely going to break records in Texas history.
All of that water flooding rivers and roads, sweeping away vehicles and forcing evacuations.
So I was trying to wait, but they told us to move out.
The rising waters also threatening wildlife on massive ranches.
We have deer struggling in the water. They're getting washed away.
Officials say they've already had to make dozens of rescues, like this brave kid wearing goggles and a snorkel, high-fiving a Texas game warden.
This is a life-threatening weather event. I don't want to mince words about how serious this situation is.
Some communities enveloped by floodwaters, forcing Texas state troopers to evacuate trapped residents by helicopter.
How many people have been rescued by the air? As of today, I was told about 12 today.
Oh no. The same storm system producing a tornado in San Antonio, sending debris flying in the air and leaving streets littered with trees. Part of the roof of this apartment complex ripped away.
The building started shaking everything.
As of this morning, no deaths have been reported. A silver lining under dark skies as communities brace for more.
So you got the flooding there, but you also have a dangerous wildfire burning in northern Spain. What you're seeing here is video provided by the Spanish military emergency unit there, showing the conditions these firefighters are facing on the ground. And government leaders say the fire has grown to more than 11,000 acres, and the weather is not helping to control these flames. Forecasters expect strong southerly winds there today that could even spread the fire even more, and at least one highway is closed because of this fire. And a train crew in Canada issued a plea for help after flames surrounded a freight train near Ontario. 3 trains carrying flammable materials were stopped for some time because of this. Everyone aboard was safely rescued from the area, and the train operations are now temporarily suspended. So from flooding to wildfires, goodness gracious, and now to the drought that we have here. Amy, a lot is going on across the United States right now.
Yeah, and the big heat isn't going to help our drought situation, but we did get an update on the drought, and we'll have that coming up in just a minute. But a weather alert day in place starting Friday, continuing into Saturday, because we do expect heat advisories to be issued for both of those days. So it is definitely going to be very hot. It's already hot out there today, but the heat index staying just below that heat advisory criteria. We're at 90 degrees right now in Raleigh, 95 the current temperature in Fayetteville. Dew points are fairly high in the low 70s for many of us, so we do have a little bit of a heat index out there. It feels more like 97 in Raleigh, 100 in Clinton, 104 in South Hill, Virginia, but the dew points are expected to drop as we head into the afternoon. So we expect the actual air temperature to be what it actually feels like for the most part this afternoon. But that air temperature, 100, so still very hot today. It's just not that dangerous heat with the higher humidity that we're going to get for the next couple of days. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we have another 100-degree day in the forecast. The heat index around 107 to 108 in the triangle. So that's some dangerous heat. We'll likely have a heat advisory for most, if not all of the area. And same thing on Saturday, perhaps 110 to 111 for the heat index with highs in the upper 90s. So this is going to be some heat that sticks around for the next few days. We're also watching tropical moisture that's going to move in for early next week, and that's going to help us with some rain chances. So watch this area here of some deep shaded red. That's going to start to lift to the north as we head into the second half of the weekend and into early next week. And our rain chances will climb because of that, at least for the eastern half of the state. So that's some good news. Hopefully it'll help us a little bit more with the drought. Just a 20 to 30% chance for Friday and Saturday, but we go up to a 50% chance on Sunday. Same thing on Monday, down to about a 40% chance Tuesday and a 30% chance on Wednesday. But at least we have some more rain chances to talk about for the early part of next week. Hot and humid Saturday. We might see a spotty shower storm late in the day. We'll have a weather alert day, 98 for the high, but the heat index well into the triple digits. Sunday, we do have that better chance for some scattered showers and storms, and it is still going to be pretty steamy. We'll have a high of 94, the heat index around 104 or so. So it stays hot through the week, and it's just we have some better rain chances by Sunday. Temperatures back off just a little bit more on Monday with that chance for some late day showers and storms. Tuesday, we'll have the potential for some storms, a high of 95, and then just some spotty showers and storms Wednesday with a high temperature of 94. We'll be talking more about the heat and the drought update and also the code orange air quality alert day for some of you today coming up in the next half hour.
All right, sounds good, Amy. We'll see that in a bit. We're talking about a housing headache. Right now, an affordable housing complex in Cary could get taken over by Raleigh. So tonight at 4, frustrated neighbors share the complaints they have about this, what they call, unfair situation.
And weight loss warning. A Wake County woman overdosed on a GLP-1. Tonight at 5:30, she shares her story in hopes of protecting others. If you're looking to get fit without paying for a pricey gym membership, creating a simple home gym can save you money. Consumer Reports tested home gym equipment to reveal the top items for at-home fitness. Here's 5 on your sides, Ashley Rowe.
Consumer Reports says one of the smartest home gym purchases is a set of adjustable dumbbells. Instead of buying multiple weights, adjustable dumbbells let you change the resistance with just a quick adjustment, saving money and space. Consumer Reports evaluated these dumbbells for things like ease of adjustment, comfort, versatility, and overall workout performance.
Our testers paid close attention to comfort, evaluating not only how the dumbbells felt in the hand, but also how comfortable they were to rest on your legs, like you might want to do if you were sitting on a bench between repetitions.
2 of the top rated are the Nordic Track 55-pound Select A weight dumbbells and the Core Home Fitness adjustable dumbbell set that goes up to 50 pounds. Both sell for under $400. Resistance bands are another affordable option. They're a lightweight, space-saving alternative to traditional weights, and experts say they can be just as effective for building strength, power, and muscular endurance. Consumer Reports recommends looking for bands that feel sturdy and checking them regularly for signs of wear and tear.
Resistance bands are one of the most versatile pieces of exercise equipment you can buy because they're lightweight, they tend to be inexpensive, and they can be used by people at many different fitness levels.
What If It resistance bands are a CR Smart Buy. 5 bands sell for about $28. For headphones, Consumer Reports recommends Apple's AirPods Pro and the Fit Pro by Beats. No matter what, before you buy, you should always compare prices to make sure you're really getting the best deal. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
LinkedIn is under investigation for allegedly advertising and profiting from fake or misleading job postings. The Texas Attorney General's office claims LinkedIn posted ghost jobs. Those are jobs that do not correspond with an actual open position or is posted despite an employer having no immediate intention of filling the role. In response to the investigation, LinkedIn says its policies require that jobs posted be authentic and accurately represented.
The price of hundreds of food and drinks at Disneyland, it just went up. Looks like Disneyland says that it's raising its food prices, and the California theme park says it could continually evaluate and adjust menu item costs. It says that the new prices are aligned with the industry, and experts say that Disney World does the exact same thing. Both parks allow visitors to bring in outside food and drink. Well, there's an iconic piece of Star Wars history that is selling for a record price. Mark Hamill's original screen-used lightsaber from The Empire Strikes Back. It went for $3.75 million at auction. The prop was used during Luke Skywalker's climactic duel there with Darth Vader, and the scene ends with Vader cutting off Luke's hand and revealing that he is his father. The lightsaber was expected to sell for as much as $2 million, but it far exceeded that estimate. That's a little too rich for my blood, but still pretty cool.
Thought maybe you might bid on that.
Nah, I got pennies compared to that.
New menu options. RDU is giving travelers more food to choose from while they wait for their flight. Airport officials explain what's behind the move.
And AI in the classroom. A new contender joined the race to expand the technology in schools. How one company is targeting educators. And we do have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers right here on your screen.
Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
All right, so check this out. On a clear day, you could tell that this is Niagara Falls, but obviously there's something a little different. I know it's different from there, right? The smoke from the Canadian wildfires, it's so thick that it's posing health risks there and here in the U.S.
NOAA was using a satellite known as GOES East to track that smoke in Canada, but it went offline yesterday afternoon, and there is no timeline to fix it. Let's bring in meteorologist Kat Campbell now. And Kat, that satellite not only super important to track the smoke in the skies, but also used to track hurricanes.
This is a big deal. This is for so many different types of weather. But one of the biggest issues is that it's our first line of defense during hurricane season. If you think about it, we don't have weather stations all across the ocean. We don't have radars all across the ocean. You can't quite float those on water. So we need the satellite imagery to see the first forms, the seeds of them being developed. So let's talk about the GOES 19 outage. We're not getting a lot of information from NOAA, but engineers report GOES 19 is in a safe hold right now. They're working to recover the satellite and will share a recovery timeline when available. Not very helpful. This is interesting, though. Engineers are investigating the suspected source of the anomaly is the satellite itself, or the instrument, which is floating around the Earth right now in orbit. So they have a lot of work to do to get everything back online and working for us. In the meantime, as I mentioned, this matters during hurricane season. It's harder to detect early development, and it matters in terms of tracking that wildfire smoke and air quality. We do have a backup satellite, GOES 16. It's already in orbit, but they have to move that satellite into the correct location to get us that same level of data, and that could take up to weeks to happen. We'll keep you updated as any new information comes in.
What a time for that to happen. Goodness, Kat. No, thank you for tracking that for us. RDU is becoming quite the culinary destination. The airport cut the ribbon on 5 new restaurants today, opening in Terminal 2. And this is happening as expansion projects are underway at the airport. WRAL's Ken Smith is here to talk a little bit more about these new restaurants and how they fit into the airport's overall expansion and what it means for travelers.
Chris, let's start with the travelers as we take a live look here at RDU International Terminal 2. Well, they'll get a taste of the triangle as they're arriving or savoring it as they're leaving after spending some time here in the triangle. RDU leadership cutting the ribbon this morning, ushering in the 5 new restaurants, including Bond Brothers Kitchen and Bar, which is a Durham-based brewery. Other restaurants include Adios by Durham chef Oscar Diaz, as well as Conniption Cocktails and Cuisine, another Durham-based business. This is all part of a multi-billion-dollar capital improvement project for the airport. RDU's president and CEO Michael Languth says this is a major investment for this fast-growing area of North Carolina.
The RDU is making billions of dollars in investments right here to improve the experience for our customers. We're building a new runway. We're expanding Terminal 2. We're going to expand John Brantley. It's all about improving the customer experience. As we continue to grow as a community, we want to grow as a community, and we're expanding the services.
Airport construction began earlier this year. The first phase is slated to open in 2029, which could include that new runway he mentioned. The full completion of the $2.5 billion project scheduled for 2032. Now, Languth says during the pandemic, the airport lost 10 restaurants. Well, today's unveiling is a step in returning the airport to a pre-pandemic level of services.
Ken, thank you. Raleigh Restaurant Week gets started today, and ahead of it, restaurants are addressing concerns about the cyclospora outbreak. Right now, 216 cases have been confirmed in Wake County. 5 people have been hospitalized. Restaurants are taking added precautions to make sure their customers stay safe. We spoke with the culinary director from Empire Eats, which operates several restaurants in downtown Raleigh. He tells us they have not made any changes to their menus yet, but they are confident in their ingredients.
We buy all of our supplies from certified purveyors, so we have good confidence and a great relationship with them. We talk to them about, is there any sort of other awareness or any other steps we need to take so we know what to do.
He said if the Wake County Health Department or the FDA issues a specific advisory about a specific food source, they are ready to change up their menus. Raleigh Restaurant Week runs through July 26th.
North Carolina's Attorney General wants a federal judge to reject the government's settlement with Chemours over PFAS, or forever chemicals. Yesterday, the state filed formal comments opposing the proposal deal. The federal government says the settlement is worth at least $450 million, but North Carolina says only a fraction of that would directly benefit this state. That's where chemical pollution from Chemours' Fayetteville Works plant contaminated drinking water for decades.
The EPA sold us out completely. We have this huge issue. All of this water was polluted. It's drinking water for almost 500,000 people in our state. The EPA could have gone to bat for North Carolina, and they failed. But a judge has to sign off on whether or not to accept the EPA's deal.
Jackson says he will continue pursuing a separate case against Chemours to make the company clean the groundwater contamination and to pay for the damage instead of leaving those costs to the taxpayers and utility customers.
The U.S. military says it completed even more strikes on Iran early this morning. The latest round of strikes targeted areas around Tehran, as well as an area of northern Iran containing missile production and space facilities. American forces also fired at and disabled a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Military leaders say it was trying to break from the U.S. naval blockade. Iran fired back with missile and drone attacks targeting U.S. allies in the region before dawn, warning its attacks may escalate in response. President Trump also announced Iran released an American who was detained since 2024. The president did not identify the woman, but says she is traveling back to the U.S. He also called this a gesture of goodwill by Iran. A U.S. official says as of June, the U.S. government was tracking at least a half dozen American citizens detained in Iran.
Time is 12:36 this afternoon, and we're talking about AI for teachers, how the newest platform can help with tasks that it hopes can prevent teacher burnout.
And catastrophic flooding possible. Heavy rain in Texas inundating rivers, roads, and homes. The area that is all too familiar for this type of emergency.
Getting you a live look at Beaufort on this afternoon. Yeah, a little cloud coverage there, but nice. Little birds coming through on a hot afternoon on a Thursday. As you're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Well, looks like another big contender just joined the race for AI dominance in the classroom.
Anthropic is launching a version of its AI-powered assistant called Claude for Teachers. Max Gordon explains this latest push by tech firms to infuse AI into education.
Summer vacation starts winding down next month, and students across the country will head back to class. That means teachers are already spending countless hours preparing lesson plans and study guides. But like almost everything else these days, there's an AI solution.
It's all about meeting teachers where they are and really responding to the feedback that we've gotten from teachers across the country who have been using AI tools day in and day out.
Earlier this week, Anthropic introduced its newest platform, Claude for Teachers. It's now available for free for all educators from kindergarten to the 12th grade. The goal is to streamline a lot of those repetitive tasks so teachers can prioritize one-on-one time with students.
They're able to focus on what they love and what makes them great, which is spending time with the students in the classroom.
It's also customizable because learning standards and curriculum now vary widely from state to state.
This is what the state expects my students to know at this particular point in time. This is sort of where my students are in terms of their existing knowledge. And you can really have that iterative back and forth.
And they're hoping as more teachers start using the platform, it'll reduce burnout, especially at schools in underserved communities.
Teachers can even have Claude for Teachers working for them overnight while they get some much deserved rest and come back to it in the morning.
That's one way to embrace it. Anthropic says Claude for Teachers will remain a free platform, and there are no plans to sell advertising or to charge fees.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we learned just within the last hour, President Trump's teleprompter operator is under investigation by federal regulators in connection with bets they allegedly made on his speeches. They used the prediction market platform Kalshi, and this was related to statements made by the president. The operator allegedly made more than $90,000 off of these bets, but most of that money was frozen by Kalshi after the bets on the platform's mentions were flagged as suspicious, according to the company. So we're still working to learn more information about this investigation. But again, this is President Trump's teleprompter operator allegedly making bets on the president's speeches since 2016. Amy Wilmoth has your weather forecast coming up after the break.
Officers facing criminal charges are resigning only to get hired somewhere else. WRAL Investigates Megan Clorty has a preview of her investigation into the hiring process that airs tonight on WRAL News at 6.
A number of former officers are facing charges for breaking the law. They took an oath to protect and serve, and they worked their way from a larger city or county department down to a smaller one. Most of them resigned from the larger department while under investigation, and that's allowed for officers in North Carolina. The reason for an investigation is not public record. However, the small department that eventually hired them could find that information out. Sources tell WRAL the reason small departments end up with the bad apples of law enforcement comes down to three things. One being a lack of training in background checks. Jeff Welty, UNC public law professor and a member of the Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission, stresses the information may be available, but departments may not know whether an officer's previous investigation should be made available to the hiring department.
And that's one of the areas of slippage where everybody's trying to comply with the law, but what one agency wants or thinks it might be getting may not always be exactly what the other agency thinks it's required to produce.
Coming up tonight at 6:15, we'll share the other 2 points that law enforcement sources say create this issue. You'll hear more on the backstories of those officers and hear from the Nash County Sheriff on how he says lawmakers can fix this problematic pattern. That's tonight at 6:15. Megan Cloherty.
And we now have an update to that catastrophic flooding in south central Texas. Within the hour, we have learned that one person has died. National Weather Service forecasters expect the rain to continue to fall until about 5 o'clock. This is the third day of heavy rains for that state. Kilauea Summit is erupting again. The 51st episode began yesterday. Residents are being warned that volcanic ash, known as Pele's hair, could come downwind due to changes in the weather. Officials are telling people to take certain safety precautions, including staying indoors if ash fall starts to become heavy and limiting outdoor exposure for those with respiratory problems. And we're dealing with our own threats here as the heat continues to climb. And Amy, this weekend will certainly be extensive.
It's going to be really hot. We start to notice the heat big time today, but it becomes dangerous tomorrow and Saturday. We expect heat advisories to be issued, so weather alert days in place for both of those days. We also have some rain on the way. Scattered showers and storms possible this weekend, especially on Sunday. Looks like that could continue into early next week as well. So a little bit of positive news there. 90 the current temperature in Raleigh, the heat index 97. So the heat index isn't going to be above 105. That's why we don't have a heat advisory in place for today. And the reason for that is the dew points are going to drop down into the 60s this afternoon, but 100 for the high in Raleigh. So it is definitely still hot outside. 100 in Fayetteville, 101 for the high in Durham. If you're one of those that likes to exercise after work, you might want to hit the gym today. We're in the 90s all the way through 8 o'clock this evening, upper 80s still at 9, and then still in the low 80s at 11 o'clock. So it just stays hot all day today. But the really good news for today is that the dew points are down into the mid 60s this afternoon. So we don't have the high humidity values, and that's why the heat index should be pretty close to the actual air temperature. That's not going to be the case for the following 3 days. So tomorrow, the dew point in the low 70s, mid 70s Saturday and Sunday. So it is going to feel much worse as we head into the end of the week and into the weekend. 108 for the heat index tomorrow, maybe 110 Saturday, 104 on Sunday. So it gets a little bit better. 99 on Monday, and then back up to 102 on Tuesday. So the worst of the heat comes tomorrow and Saturday, and that's why we have those weather alert days in place. Also, wanted to let everybody know that parts of the Triangle, Durham County, Wake County, in a code orange today. That's because of the surface level ground ozone is a little bit higher today. We have stagnant air, really hot temperatures. The National Weather Service saying that the wildfire smoke isn't a huge concern because most of that's staying in the upper levels of the atmosphere. There's nothing bringing it down to the surface. So that's some good news. But we still have hundreds of wildfires burning up in Canada, and that wildfire smoke continues to move to the south and east. This is something that you've probably noticed in the sky with some hazy sky conditions that we had yesterday and today. That will continue into Friday, and it will continue into Saturday as well. But again, most of that smoke staying in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We did get a drought update today. Things improved a little bit. Our entire area is still in a drought, but we saw the exceptional drought chip away a little bit, and same thing with the extreme drought, but things are still bad. We still need anywhere from 15 to 20 inches across our viewing area within a month to get out of the drought. But at least we have some higher rain chances over the weekend and into Monday of next week. We could see anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to maybe close to 2 inches in some spots once we get through the early part of next week. So hot for the next few days, and then back to some better rain chances late this weekend and early next week.
Amy, thank you. Dog rescue. We're used to hearing about firefighters saving cats from a tree, but a dog? The backstory of this rescue when we return. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. New today, a man accused of shooting 3 people outside the Wilson County Courthouse faces new charges. Abdul Mustafa now faces multiple counts of attempted murder and charges for shooting into an occupied vehicle. A 19-year-old woman was shot several times, and 2 law enforcement officers were also hit. Mustafa is still in jail on no bond. He will face a judge on the new charges tomorrow. 2 other people are charged in connection with the Wilson Courthouse shooting, accused of helping to scope out the building beforehand.
The state auditor's office released new findings of its month-long investigation into the town of Cary. And this is happening after allegations of financial mismanagement by the former town manager, Sean Stiegel. The report says Stiegel instituted an intimidating work environment, and that included erratic behavior and even bullying. The audit alleges that Stiegel made more than $1 million in questionable purchases, including buying land without town approval. It also says there are weaknesses in the town's financial oversight, but you can read much more on this at WRAL.com.
Research Triangle Park is taking a major step forward in keeping our area as a top spot for innovation. Leaders unveiled RTP 3.0 today, which will reshape the area as we know it. They are moving forward to not just make RTP the home of research, but adding residences as well. These changes were met with sweeping approval by the 400-plus businesses who call RTP home.
So every now and then, firefighters are called to rescue cats from trees, but one team recently had to get a dog stuck from a thick bush. And let me show you some of this video from Philadelphia. The firefighters there rescued a golden retriever named Bentley. Firefighters set up a long silver ladder, and they were able to rescue him. Now, they have no idea how he got up there in the first place, but neither Bentley nor any firefighters were hurt. The fire company joked on social media they have been dealing with cats stuck in trees for years, so they like to be unique.
A feathered friend gets a little help from authorities in Oakland, California. Crews say a pigeon approached them shortly after they put out a vehicle fire. The bird appeared to have suffered smoke inhalation from the fire, and that's when a firefighter provided oxygen to the pigeon with that little mask there. A short time later, the bird flew away, breathing a little easier. Now, video of this rescue has gone viral, reaching more than 7 million views on the department's Instagram page. Good work by that firefighter.
Yeah, big heart helping something so little. Love that. Well, our pet of the day is from Hope Animal Rescue and is ready to retire. Gary is a 15-year-old Jack Russell Terrier mix. He's currently receiving the applications for the perfect, cozy, forever home there. Gary's retirement goals include short, leisurely walks, a respectable toy collection, and reliable snack distribution. You get it. He's old. He's retiring. Gary, of course, does well with dogs, but mostly does his own thing. If you're interested in adopting him, hopeanimals.org. That's where you can apply.
Those ears, adorable. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Have a blessed day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 12.